Hello. How you doing? Wow, I just put it up there to see if anybody wanted to talk about something. So from now on, come on here every day. You got something? Just I'll message you here, and we can talk on here. Uh, so I got a coffee brew in there. I'm gonna go grab it here in a second. How you doing, Hajin? I'm gonna be doing a Toffoli trade video here right away. That's my next thing I'm working on. Hey, Kyle, how you doing, buddy? Wow, what you know what's funny is today there's not all this like this guy's going on COVID and this guy's coming off. Like there's no news about players coming in and out of COVID or nothing today. What the heck's going on? Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm gonna do one here right away because I think Toffoli will be traded. Maybe back to LA. Hey Lauren, how you doing, my friend? You got three people in here, but only one concurrent viewer thingamajigger. Um, there's no. The time wait is 5 days if you are. The time wait now is 5 days if you are. If you don't. If you're asymptomatic. Oh yeah. Yeah, but I mean, he didn't leave under bad terms there in LA. From what I understand, he didn't want to go. But I mean, it's unlikely because they traded him to give room for the kids that they got. Now it's just a question of whether they're going to regret it or not. Uh, Again, like all those top six forwards to Edmonton stuff. I mean, really, I could happen. I suppose. Who knows? With you're starting with Yamamoto there, but really, it's defense that is the problem there. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe they don't. Who knows with Holland and Tippett? What the heck? They were apparently they made a call about Chikrin. I don't know what they thought Chikrin was going to be worth, but apparently it was richer than they wanted to give. So I'd like to know what that was. They were probably saying, "Oh, we'll give you our first next year or something." Like, why even pick up the phone? You think, Brian Benning's not in the league anymore. You're not going to get Chikrin for that. But they need defense, plain and simple. Like, did you see last night in the? I don't know if this is a last night. They played Samarukov for a couple minutes. He made two really bad plays, and they sent him back to. They didn't play him. Tippett didn't play him for the rest of the game, and then sent him to the minors. I don't know. Like, do you think that's a really healthy way to bring up a prospect? Yeah, he made two mistakes. That was bad or whatever. You don't put him back on the ice again and then just ship him back to the minors. He might have been having some confidence issues there, maybe a little bit nervous. So your answer to that is, oh no, you can't be nervous. You're not allowed. Back to the minors with you. I don't know. Yeah, that's the rumor. I I just did a Kessel one. I don't think I put Boston in there, but uh, it depends on what other people are offering. I think that's more writers in Boston thinking that makes sense and not looking at what's out there. I seriously think Kessel's going to have more value than people think. Uh, he's got over half his salary off the books paid for already. So The good thing about that trade is I don't think they would have to retain. Maybe they would. I don't know. I think there would have to be more to that trade than that. Because Kessel's going to have somewhere around 4 million still on the books. So I'm sure DeBrusk they're still going to have to make up 2 million somewhere. Kessel to Colorado, but I mean, I looked at some players to Colorado, but Burakovsky has to play in your top 6. You would be playing him in your lower. I don't know. I'm sure. I think he would waive to go to Colorado, but I'm not sure if it would be a good idea to get him for your bottom 6. You know what I mean? Because you can't put Burakovsky in the bottom 6. He only plays right wing. Does Burakovsky play? Does Burakovsky play anything other than? Does he play right and left? I don't think so. I've never seen him play on the left side before. Oh, he does play left. Okay, never mind. It could work. You'd have Burakovsky and Kessel on the right side. It would be a soft team. It could work. I don't know how good. Every time I see him, he's on the right side. Like, I don't know if how well he can play on the offside. Got feisty? Yeah. Yeah, the Preds are like that. The Preds are warriors, man. Was it I gotta look up his name now. I had Nashville as a possibility for Kessel because they don't want to give up too much for prospects because they're in a semi-rebuild. I don't know, and you know they're probably gonna make the playoffs this year. So it just seems like a rental type thing that they would do. Borowicki dropped him with Wilson, and then not long after they dropped him with Wilson, they went on a 3-goal run. Hey, John Whitechell, where have you been, buddy? Nice to have you back. Maybe a late first, maybe, if they retain. A team like Nashville wouldn't have to retain. That's why I think that they might be in on it. And Arizona's broke, so they don't want to retain. So I think Nashville could get in on with a third or something like that with not retaining anything, and they wouldn't even have to send a body back. So it depends on how much they don't want to pay in Arizona. If money is the main factor, if they don't, and it seems like they're making moves that is the case. The owner's trying to save some money. I guess he's bleeding money there. Then I would say that Nashville has a chance to get in for pretty cheap because I don't think there's too many other teams out there that are going to be able to be in a position to want him and not have to give up money. The other one I thought of is possibly Minnesota. Oh, I missed that because I was switching back and forth. That would have been pretty cool. Yeah, that Nashville did make a game of it. Down 3-0, came back, couldn't put it away. They got outshot pretty badly. I gotta say, okay, no more thinking that Washington's going to be the old Washington team anymore. This team is driven to do something. And that's why I also had Kessel to Washington. And let me tell you, whenever I post it on Facebook and I say, hey, check out this, it's at this point of the video or whatever, and I post, like, say, to Washington for Kessel, oh my gosh, I get a very negative reaction. Nobody likes Kessel. I think he's got a reputation. I think it's worse. His reputation is far worse than it actually is. But why would Tyler Patuzzi be traded? Are they getting? I mean, I heard rumors of that, but I think that was before his contract. I think now that he has a contract, I don't think Tyler Patuzzi is going to be traded. Caps only need a goalie. Yeah, I agree. And we were saying that before the season that I would be heavy on Fleury if he was available, and I still would. Yeah, Kessel's not as bad as he's made out to be. Kessel just kind of doesn't try to deflect any of it. And I think they could survive with the defense they have, Lauren, but I agree. I mean, it could help. Jensen has had an out-of-body experience this year in Washington, though. That's been really unbelievable. I didn't see that coming, got to admit. And, it's amazing. There's a lot more talent out there when given the opportunity than we know about, obviously. Because a lot of teams are bringing up talent and right now, and they're winning games. But like this kid, Washington kid, I mean, I liked him last year, the times that they brought him up. I think he's injured right now, or on COVID or whatever. Ferravari, that's how you say it. Ferravari. I mean, that guy's been great. Solid defensive defenseman. But yeah, when they got to be playing guys like Matt Irwin and Alexander Alexiev is just a kid coming up. I mean, he played all right last night, but it's a patchwork defense, definitely on paper, no doubt about it. But Samsonov, I don't know. I just don't think he's ever going to make it, man. Just like I'm not a Grubauer guy, and they used to have Grubauer, I'm not a Samsonov guy. Yeah, Buffalo will need one eventually. I don't think they care right now. Like, they really just want to make sure they get a high draft pick this year. And unfortunately, their coach is making that very difficult for them because their coach has got those guys playing really well. So I doubt they go out and get a goaltender until the summer. They don't. they really don't. Management, the general manager, the management there, they don't want to win this year. But they want their kids to learn to compete, and they got a good coach for that. So possibly, yeah. Kirsanov. I mean, I personally didn't notice Kirsanov, but you would have noticed him because you were looking for him. So it's hard to say. In St. Petersburg, he's got 3 points in 29 games. But he has played 29 games, which is a lot for, how old is he? 19 for a 19-year-old? You know, and you can't really, they don't like to play their kids there. Under 20, he had 2 points in 7 games. So it doesn't look like he's going to be an offensive guy. But if he's good enough defensively to be playing 29 games in the KHL at 19, probably has a pretty good future, I would say. But I mean, I wouldn't put him as a for sure prospect, but yeah, he's a defensive defenseman, which means, like, I don't know, you got to see if it translates over here in the NHL. Like I said, I didn't notice him, which is good if he's a defensive defenseman. But defensive defensemen there's a lot to go around. So he's going to have a big challenge when he comes over here, and he may take that challenge. He may win that challenge. What is I have LA here already, right? Kirill, what was he? 80 he was 84th overall in 2021, this last draft. Yeah, he's never put up numbers anywhere. So he is a very defensive defenseman. 84th overall, that's a 3rd overall pick then. And then what did you say, Brock Faber? No, right, he plays for US. 9 points in 18 games, 6 feet. Oh, he's got a shot. He's got a shot. I mean, those aren't bad points to put up for, how old is he? When was he drafted? 2020? 19? Yep. Yeah, he's got a shot, that's for sure. Yes, the taxi thing is back. I think that's really pushing it, dude. Brodin has more offense than Kurasanov. Brodin would be in his junior years. Let me see. Let's see what Brodin was putting up in the Swedish Elite League. I mean, Brodin's one of the best defensive defensemen in the league. Up there, you know, that would be a bonus. But going by his numbers, I wouldn't put him in the Brodin status. Minnesota. Anything's possible. I'm just talking about percentages based on his numbers. That's all. Brodin. Where the heck are you? Oh, Jonas Brodin. The World Junior Championships, Brodin was putting up about 4. He was putting up assists. Sweden under 20 at 11 points in 13 games. He played in the Swedish Elite League at, what was he drafted? And he was 10th overall in 2011. He played in the Swedish Elite League when he was 18 years old. He might have had maybe a little bit more offense. But after that, he increased his offense quite a bit. I think he's going to have to increase his offense a little bit to be put in Brodin type categories. I notice him. That's a guy I notice. I notice Brodin a lot. His speed with the puck, like what I mean, he didn't show. Like, you can still be a defensive defenseman and be noticeable. Brodin skates the puck out so well. It's crazy. And that's at the NHL level. So I think he's got, this is sad, I think he's got a long way to go to be in the Brodin category, somewhere like that. To put him in, to put those kind of words on him. I mean, I think I'd be happy if he, and Spurgeon, I mean, yeah, that's some high praise. It's just a lot to put on a guy. I think I'd be happy if he turned into a Susie or something like that. If he got to that point, somebody like that. Maybe an Adam Larson or, a solid defensive defenseman. I wouldn't say that his numbers and everything project, or what I saw, project him to be one of the better, like a Pesci or Brodin or something like that. I could be wrong. I mean, he's still got lots of room to grow. So, everybody takes their different paths to get there. But there is kind of like a normal projection that a player will go. Yeah, everybody thinks their own prospects are going to. Like, if you talk to Edmonton Oilers fans, Broberg is the second coming of Slavin or something. It's not likely. He looks like he's going to be a good 3-4 defenseman, somewhere around there, maybe a 5-6. But if you talk to Edmonton Oilers fans, oh yeah, he's going to be like the best defensive defenseman. And offense is going to all of a sudden suddenly appear in his game that he never had before. So. Talking about that, okay, so last night we had, we'll do the Devils versus Sabres. And I had the over all day on that. And I liked the Devils, but I didn't put it in, and it was close. So I got to say, though, that Sabres team never gives up. And it was some pretty cool stories in that game. Uh, First of all, Alex Tuck's first game back, and he looked great. I'm going to go grab my coffee since nobody's in here, anyways. So Alex Tuck played last night, and he looked freaking awesome. So much energy. They played him 18 minutes in his first game. He got his first point as a Sabre. And he looked just as good as he ever did. I don't know, maybe he didn't quite have his skating legs, but page is unresponsive. He didn't quite seem to have his skating legs, but he gave everything he had. They also played Peterka 16 minutes, his first game in the NHL. Didn't really notice him all that much, but that's actually probably not that bad of a... What's going on? That's probably not that bad of a thing because he's just a rookie, so he really hasn't had, just being able to play and not stand out in a bad way is probably a pretty good thing, especially when he was drafted to be a defensive defenseman anyways. Yeah, well, he's still really young, He's still really young. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if that kid you were talking about, if you brought him in to play in the NHL right now, you'd see issues in his game. We'll talk about Sam Arukov when he gets there. Broberg is hesitant. He's hesitant. Man, he didn't do too bad for a kid that just came into the league pretty much and is only 20 years old. That's what people forget. Like, the people are throwing Lafreniere and Kako under the bus. 20 years old? Yeah, give that a break, man. If you're able to play with the players at that age, you're probably going to be a really good player. Are you going to be a superstar? I mean, they were projecting him like a Rantanen or something like that. Maybe not, but I think Kako might end up being a better player than Lafreniere, but it's hard to say right now. He certainly is projecting that way. He's playing better than Lafreniere is right now. Lafreniere, he's got all the tools. He's got a good shot. He's got moves, but he doesn't know what to do with the puck when it's on his stick. He doesn't know when to pass it and all that kind of stuff like that. He's learning all that right now. As far as New Jersey is concerned, Jack Hughes is hitting his freaking stride, man. I still say that guy's going to be a point-a-game centerman. And Bratt kept it going from he was crushing it going into the break, one of the few New Jersey Devils there was. And I think he got a couple. Did he get a goal last night? Yeah, he got a goal and assist. Another goal for Jesper Bratt. And Hughes played fantastic. Sharangovich probably had the best game I've seen him play this year. Almost looked like he was back to where he was. I'm thinking maybe with Sharangovich, it's a conditioning issue. He starts out strong and starts to fade. Then he got some time off to rest, and now we'll see what he does for the rest of the year. Probably will fade off. And then Ethan Prow. 28-year-old Ethan Prow has been in the minors his whole career. That finally gets a shot His first game, defensive defenseman, doesn't put up big numbers anywhere. And he pots one last night. What a cool story. Too bad it wasn't in a winning effort, but not too bad. The funny thing is, Graves was back in the lineup for New Jersey, and Jonas Siegenthaler played more minutes than Graves yesterday. Now, that might have had something to do with the fact that Graves had been out for a while, and they just want to get him back into shape again. But the fact that Siegenthaler played that much is pretty impressive. They picked him up for basically nothing. I think it was, well, not nothing. I think it might have been a third-round pick. I thought it was a good pickup when they picked him up. From the Washington Capitals, who I was surprised would have given up on a guy like that. And now he put up 22 minutes last night. Pretty solid effort all around by New Jersey. Probably one of the better efforts that they've had all year. Bad part is Blackwood they didn't let soft goals in, but he's not winning games for them. I thought at this point Blackwood would be in a position to be winning games for New Jersey more often than he is right now. He doesn't seem to be progressing as much as I thought he would. A couple times, it might be because of the injuries issues that he's had or whatever the case may be, but it's a bit concerning. But it was a good game overall. I really liked it. I enjoyed it. The Devils outshot him 42-22, and the Sabres seem to be able to. They kind of know they don't have the offense to be putting a lot of offense on the board, so they've learned to play a system where they keep people to the outside, give their goaltender the best opportunity to make the save and stuff like that. And as they get talent, with their ability to do that, they could be they probably will be a very good team somewhere down the road. But it's a little bit of a ways away yet, that's for sure. They got a lot, and there was a lot of people out of the lineup last night for them. Panthers versus the Rangers, and I was on the Rangers here until I found out that Huberdeau and them. Yeah, Luke. Yeah, I mean, I like Siegenthaler. I don't mind it. Like, I think it just needs time to grow. That's all. It's young, but it needs time to grow. I like Siegenthaler. I like Graves. Severson has not progressed very well. If there's one guy that I think it's time to move on from, it's him. And then PK Subban will be moved on from this year, I'm pretty sure. Ty Smith isn't playing like he was when he first came in. And I think that's always the case. Offensive defensemen come in and they play like they're learning how to play the defensive part of the game. So there's a pretty huge transition. And usually they start out putting up tons of offense. And then the coach is like, okay, dude, we got to play defense up here in the NHL. So let's start working on that. And then, of course, their offense drops. So. Yeah, Bernier. When is he coming back? I don't know. I'd have to look that up. And I mean, in Detroit, the guy never got injured. Never got injured in Detroit. And now in New Jersey, it's all he's been is injured. Or at least he didn't get injured for the last 2 years. I shouldn't say that. Bernier on IR. It just says injured reserve. It doesn't say how long it's going to be for him to come back. So. Probably whatever it was. He probably had to have some surgery or something, but he kept it to himself because he wanted to get, I don't know, $8 million. And then give it a go, get hurt. Doctors say you need surgery. They don't need him this year. Get the surgery and try again next year. That could be the case. I'm not sure. Anyways, we're back to the Panthers and Rangers. Yeah, I was on the Panthers until I found out that uh, Barkov and Huberdeau were going to be back. Pretty cool game, pretty good game. The Rangers actually looked like they were outplaying them early, and then Florida got their legs and started looking good. Anton Lundell potted another one last night. He looks really good. Zibanejad pot one. They need him scoring a lot more. One of the most. I wonder if he's going to go through one of those like rips where he just pots a goal every 15 goals in 20 games or something like that, like he does just about every year. Mackenzie Weegar, I was surprised, only got his first goal last night. I was really surprised by that. A guy with this kind of shot, with that kind of team on there, I thought he would have a lot more than that. Carter Verhaeghe potted one, and they got goals from everybody. Anthony Duclair from Bennett, and they did that all on Shesterkin too, which is pretty impressive. And Bobrovsky all of a sudden looks good again. I mean, you never know what this guy's going to bring you. It's almost like there's no in between with him. But he actually looked pretty good last night. Any surprises about who they are playing more? What did they play Lundell? Lundell got 17 minutes, and he looked fantastic doing it. Barkov only got 19 minutes last night, but it was his first game back after a long injury. 2 shots on goal, 2 hits. Didn't really do all that much from what I saw, but they did keep the pace going a lot better for Florida. That's the thing, is I noticed before the break, the Florida's pace seemed to be waning a little bit. And bringing Barkov back seems to have helped that out a lot. At least it did last night. Dark horse to win the cup, yeah. I don't know. I think goaltending might let him down. My dark horse is a real dark horse. My dark horse is the Nashville Predators. I don't think they'll actually win the cup, but I wouldn't mind if I wouldn't be surprised if they do a Montreal. Saros, when he's on, man, he plays like a bat at it. He's unbelievable. For the Rangers, I don't think Florida. I think Florida. I don't know if they don't have the game, but I don't think they have the goaltending in Florida, and they probably need a little more depth on D. Calgary. I Yeah, I think Calgary will probably wear down. They might win a round or two, but it's going to be like in the semis and stuff. They're a pretty small team, actually. They're not that big of a team. For the arena, yeah. That's true. They don't have the fans to get them going and all that kind of stuff like that. Kreider is playing absolutely fantastic last night. He's every game I've watched the Rangers play, he's been fantastic. He's playing probably his best he's ever played in his career right now. No arena or no fans. Well, if you have no fans, eventually you'll have no arena. But if they can put the winning together consistently in Florida, I'm pretty sure they'll find a way. They'll start coming in eventually. I would hope so, anyways. I mean, if they did it in Tampa, I don't see why they can't do it in. I wanted to mention Lafreniere only played 12 minutes last night, and he had zeros across the board. No shots on goal, no hits, no blocks, no nothing. On the other side of it, Kako, 3 shots on goal. I noticed him last night. He played well. And Philip Heidel, one of the most frustrating guys I see is Philip Heidel. Philip Heidel. The guy's got everything, man, but he can't get, he doesn't want to get into the spots. He's got the size. It's just not, I don't know if it's ever going to come together for him. I really like him. I liked him a lot. I like his talent a lot, but I don't know. I think if things go south there, I think they'll be smart enough to trade him away. I could be wrong, but and Libor Hayek looked like he was almost on the outs for the Rangers, and he wasn't going to get a chance. Then they have some injuries. Who's out right now? And probably COVID. COVID related. I can't think of who they would be at the time, but who is it? Trouba? Miller's in, right? Who's the guy they're missing? Anyways, I think he's taken the spot. He's looked really good. He's for sure looked like the best he's ever looked in the NHL ever since he came up from the AHL. I think this is the time, and he's decided he's going to grab his spot. Anyways, good game. The Rangers. The one thing I noticed about the Rangers last night is, as the game gets on, they seem to fall. They don't have the depth to make it yet. They still got a little bit of time before. I mean, they might make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to do that much when they get in there. That's for sure. Capitals, Predators, we talked about this game, and I will not be fading the Capitals in games like this anymore. It's pretty clear that Laviolette has that team dialed in and ready to play in every situation right now, which makes it scary for the rest of the league, because if that was really the only problem with Washington, was they would take nights off. Games in the regular season where you had to stay disciplined, they generally didn't. They came out barreling. Now, they did let Nashville back into it in the second, but it almost really didn't matter because they were outplaying Nashville quite a bit. Samsonov let a soft one or two in, and but they outplayed them. And this was a game after a long break that the old Washington team would have lost quite often. So it was, and they would have looked like they had a long break. But this team is driven this year, totally driven. Yeah, he wears thin on players, I guess. I don't know. Maybe as he gets older, he'll learn how to adjust to that. But It seems to be the case. Like 2 years, 3 years, and he's out. So I think he's just very demanding, and he burns the crap out of his players to get to where he needs to go. Tortorella's the same way. He just expects a lot from his players, and he gets the most out of them. And then before you know it, they wake up and go, "Holy crap! I can't keep this up anymore." And then they have to go a different direction. Yakov Trenin potted one last night. That guy is looking way better than I thought he was going to be. I thought he was going to be a fourth liner at best, but I would love him on my team now, man. I would love Yakov Trenin on the Edmonton Oilers right now. They need guys like that. He's got 6 goals this year, and that's all. He's got more goals than Luke Cunnin, who scored one last night from Toivonen and Harper, and then Philip Forsberg. You know, did you know they call Granlund Garanimal? They call Granlund Garanimal because of his work ethic and stuff like that. They were saying that last night. But eventually Washington does come back. And Kuznetsov from Ochi and Carlson. And Carl Hagelin pots one. He doesn't score too many too often. From Orlov and Carlson. And Washington just looked good. Nashville keeps on doing that sort of stuff where they come back like that, though. They don't give up. This team does not give up at all. They don't give an inch. Nick Cousins was back in the lineup, only had 8 minutes. Tomasino, oh yeah, he got penalty minutes? No, he didn't. Okay, he only got 6 minutes. They were playing their big guys quite a bit last night. Benning looked good. Ekholm looked pretty good, but they need Josie back. That team ain't not. That team needs. I mean, it isn't. It's okay, but it's a totally different team with Josie in, right? Samsonov had stopped 16 and 19 shots. He just doesn't hit it. You know, he's just not a number one yet. And I don't know if he ever is going to be one. Maybe, I mean, you keep on waiting. How long are they going to wait for this kid? Come on. Like, they don't have time to be waiting on Samsonov to become a number one. He's got to be there now. They need a goaltender right now. I agree with Hajin, what you said there. And Alexei had his first game last night. All right, next game. Flyers versus Kraken, and Flyers had no business winning this game. I don't know if you watched this game. No, I didn't think he would be that good. I thought he would be okay, but, I mean, he is unbelievable. He could have a Vezina in him. What is the other goaltender that had a Vezina for the Nashville? Oh, you already know that. Pekka Rinne. That's an easy one. What am I talking about? He takes over for Rinne, and he might get a Vezina. But the Philadelphia Flyers looked terrible last night. Absolutely terrible. The only reason why the Kraken lost that game last night is they don't have any shooters on their team. Jones played well, but, I mean, they shot it right at him quite a bit. James Van Riemsdyk got 2 last night, and then Ivan Provorov potted one in the overtime, but they had no business winning that game. None whatsoever. They were getting outplayed all over the ice. Jones played well, and Seattle couldn't shoot. If Seattle had better shooters, they would have lost that game badly, very badly. Seattle was missing the net all over the place. Morgan Geekie, the power play has a really good shot, but for the most part, it's hard, but it's not all that accurate. They just need more offense on that team. They just need more skill on that team. Systematically, they're pretty good. Grubauer again is not great. Well, it seems to be only in junior he does that, though, which is really weird. He seems to only do that in junior. Like, was it what his stats in the KHL this year? I think are good again. It's very weird. Something about the World Junior Championships and Askarov doesn't. I don't know. I think it got in his head. He had a bad one the first time, and like he looks terrible in the World Junior Championships every time. Oh, actually, you're right. He's not even having that great a year in the KHL this year. But the World Junior Championships, 4.50 and an 8.12. Couldn't stop anything. In the KHL, 5 games, he had a 2. Oh, not bad. No, KHL, 2.00 goals against average, but only a .904 save percentage. That's a pretty small sample size. The year before that, what did he have last year? I thought last year's numbers were insane. Yeah, 1.21 and a .951. So maybe it's starting to get to his head a little bit. Like, maybe it's starting to get to his head a little bit. I don't know. And then the Ducks, I didn't watch this game, but I had the Canucks to win. And was that 7 or 8 in a row? And they're all saying, what are they saying? Now, what's that saying that they're saying now? It's on Twitter. Let's see if it's still here. Bruce, there it is. Isn't that what they're saying? Yeah, they're having fun in Vancouver, man. They are having fun in Vancouver right now. Bruce, there it is. So they pulled one out. Like Gibson was playing extremely well when I went to bed. And they were down 1-0, I think, with the third to go. And they just kept on playing. They didn't start hanging their heads. They just kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and obviously eventually were able to pull it out. Yeah, but his numbers in the KHL aren't even like super great. They're not bad. But that in 5 games he could have just had one bad game, and that's going to make it look skewed. So Kings started it. Kings will end it. What do you mean by that? Oh, we'll end it. Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Because they're playing tonight, right? The Canucks and the Kings tonight. Yeah, we can start there since you're in there. Is that what it is? Yeah, Canucks and Kings. Tough one tonight, bud. It's a back-to-back for the Canucks, so they're going to have Halak in net. I wouldn't. I don't know about this game. It's hard not to keep rolling with the Canucks. It really is. They've just got such an incredible energy right now. Is Dano back? Okay. I didn't notice that. That must have just happened. Because earlier it was saying that he wasn't. Oh, the Montreal Canadiens had 2 more. Okay, well, that doesn't mean anything. Belpedio and Fairbrother? Who cares? Wow, they're talking about more. I think Travis Green's a good coach. It's a bad group, and I don't know. He's young, so I think he might have had trouble switching his way around or something like that. It changes the flow. We'll see what happens when this energy falls off, because that defense still isn't that great on paper, anyways. Vancouver's defense on paper is not great. I think he even knows that. But right now they're getting by on a lot of energy, a lot of positive energy that that Green wasn't obviously able to produce there. Yeah, they weren't able to produce. He wasn't able to produce the energy anymore. He did what he did for the playoff run, and then for some reason he was struggling to produce whatever energy he thought he could. Doesn't necessarily mean a guy's a bad coach. It's sort of like it's just at this stage of his career, it was as far as he could go with that team. He needs some time to learn a little bit more. But I mean, you got a guy like Paul Maurice who realized it himself that, I'm not like that. I can't do any more here. I got to learn more to be able to help this team better or something. So he's got to step down. And Green hasn't been around as long as Paul Maurice has to maybe realize that himself or whatever. But eventually, I think Green will land on his feet. He'll get another job out there somewhere. How many of these guys, Paul Maurice had to learn, all of these guys had to start somewhere. And, they learned from getting fired and everything to become better coaches. Bruce Boudreau we'll see what he can do if he does make it into the playoffs. I mean, he's never had a successful team in the playoffs, really. Yeah, you're talking about the elite. Yeah, there's guys that are totally elite, like Scotty Bowman, for sure. Herb Brooks, Glenn Sather when he was a coach, not a general manager, but Glenn Sather when he was a coach. There's elite coaches. Brindamore now, Joel Quenneville, guys like that. Do I think Green is there? I mean, maybe one day, but those guys were always there. Those guys were elite almost right from the get-go. And, Bruce Boudreau was able to do it fairly well in the regular season, but couldn't do it in the playoffs. So he's had a super long career, and now he's going to get an opportunity to do it in the playoffs. Maybe not this year, but hopefully for Vancouver, and to see if he can do it then. But Glenn Sather was a horrible general manager. Glenn Sather, same as Sutter is a great coach, but was a horrible general manager. Yeah, he was a bad coach for sure, no doubt about it, or bad general manager, I should say. Yeah, Scotty Bowman is elite. And he was an elite general manager too. So, he had both. But, I mean, those are rare. Barry Trotz, you know. You don't need not everybody can have a coach that good, unfortunately. We could have one better than Tippett, though. I would take Green over Tippett any day. Any day. Fire Tippett, hire Green right now. No doubt about it. I would take that in a heartbeat. But yeah, Glenn Sather was a terrible general manager. Oh my gosh. He made some of the worst signings ever. Wade Redden. Everybody in the world knew that Wade Redden was having party problems, going out and doing too much partying and stuff like that. I don't know what in the world made him think him going to New York was going to make that better. If he could find, if he was crumbling to the craving of going, not the word I'm looking for, but of going out in Ottawa, imagine what it would be like in New York. Well, I thought he was a much better coach in Arizona, but I'm now starting to think that maybe it was just that he had Smith there the whole time and saved his ass. Because I remember Arizona fans complaining a lot about what, like, people that know better are complaining about now, about what Tippett does with his roster, like stuff like he did with Samorukov last night. That was ridiculous. Maybe. That was a Mike Keenan move. That was a terrible move. Now, the thing is, I don't know if he's the same way. Mike Keenan used to do that stuff to see how you would react to it. To see if you were the type of player that was going to overcome adversity. He would create adversity to see if a player would overcome that adversity. In other words, his idea was, especially in the regular season, was to keep you on your toes so you didn't get complacent. And he said it himself. I remember hearing him say stuff like that. One of his best quotes is, "It's not what happens to you that matters. It's how you react to it." And he would create these things like, not playing guys when their family's going to come to town, doing what Tippett did with Samorukov last night. And his family would have been watching that. Imagine. I believe he even brought his fiance. He brought his fiance to watch the game, made 2 mistakes, and Tippett didn't play him for the rest of the game. So now there's a lot of ways to look at that. From the Mike Keenan practice of doing things, he's going to say, like a player may come to him and say, "How could you do that? Why would you, bench me with my fiance and my family in the stands?" And I think Mike Keenan's answer would be something to the effect of, "You still have your family, but how are you going to react to what happened?" It doesn't matter what happened. It matters what you do when you get on the ice that next game. That's what matters. So he would do that in order to tell people, "I don't care what you did or what you thought I did or whatever the case may be. The only thing that matters is what you do when you step on the ice next time. So anything I do that may piss you off, if that's going to affect your game next time, I don't want you on this team. I don't want my players to be affected by anything that happens off the ice. That, like, could you agree or disagree with that with Mike Keenan? That's one way of doing things. That's one way of doing things. And it sounds good when you hear it, but I think there's got to be a balance there. I think that's way over the top. Rick Tocchet to Edmonton, I would have to see what Rick Tocchet can do with an offensive team first before I really gave him that. I mean, his team in Arizona, all they really did was flop all around the ice. They just boxed around Kemper and blocked as many shots as possible, and then hopefully they got the puck and got out. His possession stats were deplorable. They were awful. But I think I might take him over Tippett right now. Maybe it's just I don't get Tippett, what he's doing at all. At first I tried to say, okay, what he's doing is he's giving these guys a long leash and a long chance to prove themselves, like Turris and Barry and guys like that. So at least the people in the room, the guys in the room can say, hey, you know what? He gives everybody a chance. But the chance is there now. Turris should never see ice ever. He's terrible. And Barry should never see anything much but power play time. I don't know. I guess you got to play them, but because they have no choice. On one side of me, I wonder if Tippett is maybe just as frustrated as anyone else because he doesn't have anybody to play. However, who he does play, like he does have options. He can play Benson instead of Turris. On defense, he might not have any options, I guess. I don't know, but pretty messed up. Anyways, what do we got? What else we got tonight? We were going to look at tonight's games. Panthers and Lightning. And he's not going to tell us who's going to be in net until Cooper is not going to tell us who's going to be in net until the last second. You can be almost rest assured he will not tell you who's going to be in net until like 15 minutes before game time. And neither has Florida. I'm pretty sure isn't it going to be Spencer Knight for the Panthers and probably Maxime Lagacé, in which case you got to go Florida because Lagacé just looked absolutely terrible last game. Stupendously bad. And as far as I know, has anybody heard anything about either Elliott or Vasilevsky being back in the lineup? I haven't heard anything of it. Nope. Vasilevsky and Elliott, as far as I can tell, are still out. So I got to go with Florida. What do you guys think? Canes versus Habs, the Canes win that all day long. That's not even really a thing. I mean, if the Canes lose that game, I don't know. There's something in the universe is not right. It's the juice has got. I mean, oh my gosh, Montreal's getting 4.5. The only reason why Carolina loses that game is it's their first game back after the trip. But, I mean, we're talking about a Brindamore prepared team. Yeah. Ranta craps the bed, or Carolina for some reason is so rusty or something like that. Like I can't see, not in a million years can I see that happening. Yeah, they're not losing that game. There's no way. That would be, I don't know. What's the odds of Carolina losing that game against Montreal? 90.1% or something like that? Like, yeah, but I don't know. Look at Montreal's lineup, man. Even a rusty Carolina team. Maybe it takes them a little bit to get going. Like they could get down 2-0 early and still look at this lineup. Drouin, Suzuki, Gallagher. Suzuki's not a number one yet. Maybe never will be. I don't know. He hasn't really had. Brendan Gallagher's only got 10 points in 24 games so far. Raphael Harvey Pinard. This is a guy who is 5'9", plays with a lot of heart, but even he only had 14 points in 24 games. Yeah, he potted a goal last game, but Ryan Poehling and Cole Caulfield, who's been a freaking ghost this year so far. Alex Belzile. Jake Evans is not an NHL caliber player. Jesse Alonen, Michael Pizzetta, Cedric Paquette, and Lucas Vedemo. That's their lineup. I'm pretty sure there's AHL lineups that would be able to beat that team. And then defense pairing, Romanov and Savard, Kulak and Clegg, and Schuneman and Niku. If maybe Tampa Bay or like the old Washington teams might just not wake up for this game or something like that. But Carolina with Brindamore in there, no freaking way. No way they lose this. No way. I can't see it. In the AHL, he did, yeah. But I don't know what to say more about that game. Carolina doesn't win that game, I give up. I don't know how possible Carolina doesn't win that game. Ranta would have to be a complete sieve. Like maybe he doesn't. I don't even want to say it. I'm going to put it out of the universe. Ranta's going to rock. Carolina's going to win that like 5-1 or more or something like that. Molten Bowl. By the way, go check out my shorts. Don't forget my shorts, guys. I mean, I'm talking about my shorts for YouTube. You know what I mean. Go check them out. Pretty good. Pretty funny. Next game. So Blue Jackets and the Predators, and I know the Predators are on a back-to-back and they've got Rittich, but I like their heart and I don't like Columbus's heart right now. I don't think that team is built to push through games. Flyers, Sharks. I gotta go Sharks. I mean, maybe Philadelphia looks better on the back-to-back because they got their legs moving yesterday. But they look terrible against Seattle. Just face it. Absolutely horrible. And are they going to play Martin Jones back to back? Are they going to play Martin Jones back to back? Otherwise, they got to play that Swedish kid. And San Jose is going to play Reimer, who was a little shaky last game, but maybe he was a little bit rusty. But what's that? What's hilarious? Molten Bull? Hey, Bill, how you doing? Welcome in, man. Oh, yeah. That would be, they'd be playing Jones on a back-to-back against the Sharks. I didn't even think about that. Do you think Jones will shut him down? I don't think so. I think he'll get lit up. See, I've never been a goalie, but apparently you are risking a goaltender quite a bit to go back to back. And I don't really get it. Like, shouldn't they have be so stretched out and everything that they can handle a back to back? But apparently you're really putting, so that means they must hurt themselves quite a bit playing in a game. They got to be like really stressing their body every single time. I'm actually kind of surprised that if they were going to play that kid, that they didn't play them last night. But it's possible that they thought that they were going to be rusty, so they play Jones, and they're going to play that kid tonight. Instead of saying that kid every time, I better check out what his actual. It's Samsonov or something like. Let me find it. Not Samsonov. It's a simple name. Simple Sandstrom. Felix Sandstrom. He's on emergency loan though, and I don't think he's put very good numbers up in the AHL. However, Philly's AHL team has been horrible. So a 3.08 and a 0.96 might not even be that bad. No, they don't have their first this year either. No, they don't have their first this year. They traded. Oh yeah, wait. Huh? How did they have their first this year? I don't. It says on Cap Friendly they have their first this year. How is that possible? Didn't they trade their first for Erasmus Ristolainen? Oh, that was last year's first. That's right. They do have their first this year. That's right. They traded last year's first for Ristolainen. They would be stupid to trade their first. Kind of. I don't know. I don't know what this team wants to do. Are you going for it? Are you not going for it? I mean, just go for it. They could add. When they didn't go for Eichel, I thought, forget about it. You're done. I mean, forget about it. I would have been offering up whatever you could get to get Eichel. They do have their first. When they didn't go get Eichel, like they didn't really make a really good push for it, I was like, I don't know what you're doing. Because if you're going for it, you get Eichel. That's it, period. End of story. Whatever Vegas is offering, You got to give up. Like maybe try to keep Joel Farabee, but maybe you got to give up Joel Farabee. I don't know, but you got to get Eichel if you're gonna go for it this year. You don't have Couturier and Eichel might give you a shot. I would too, but they were supposed to be doing that, but they got rid of Hextall. So then they brought in Fletcher, who is not a person to rebuild, right? That's not what he's known for. He's known for giving stupid big contracts and having a team that barely makes the playoffs. That's a very good way of putting it. The team has a weak skeleton. I agree. I know. And so they just always stay in the middle of the road. It's sad. It's sad to be a Philadelphia Flyers fan. Well, with Chuck Fletcher, they make just the weirdest moves ever. They have a plan, and then they fire the plan, and they bring in a guy who has no plan, but he's just like, I'll try to win right now. I'll win right now. He convinces them that he can win right now. He goes and makes a decent move for Ellis, but all the people in Nashville I was talking to said that that injury that he had is going to keep on coming back to creep up on him. It looks like that's happening. Then he trades that first for Ristolainen, who it was to Buffalo, right? We'll find out what that guy looks like, but who they might not even be able to keep unless they give him a qualifying offer of over $5 million, or they convince him to sign a long-term contract for less than what he's making. And he's not worth it. He's not worth $5 million, Ristolainen. His development was terrible. I mean, you look at that roster man on man. Do you think they're even close to a cup? You think they're even close to a cup? Atkinson? Like an old Giroux, Couturier, Atkinson, Hayes who's gibbled up all the time. Even with a perfectly healthy Hayes, I don't think that they have a cup there. So anyways, I think San Jose wins that game. San Jose's already played, so they're not going to be rusty coming in. They were rusty in the game that they played. I believe that was against Seattle, wasn't it? But they're not going to be rusty now. Philadelphia's on a back-to-back. Yeah. Well, yeah, and they had no business winning that game against Seattle. Am I all of a sudden going to think that they're going to break out of it? I mean, look at they beat Vegas that one time. Yeah, like they win really weird games. They win really weird games. I agree. Like very odd games that you don't think they're gonna win. Like, okay, they're not winning tonight. Like, this could be it tonight, where you're like, they're not gonna win tonight, and boom, they do, and you're like, what? How did that happen? The big question is going to be who are they going to put in net? Are they going to play Jones back to back? I don't think so. Spencer Knight is in for Florida. Chris Driedger is in for Kraken. We kind of already knew that. They're on a back-to-back. And we still don't know. So which one do you want to talk about now, Lauren? Now, San Jose's lineup is not looking all that spectacular, I believe. Who do they got out? Oh, Hurdle's back, though. Hurdle wasn't in last game. Cogliano, Benito, Nieto, Jaden Hobgowax. Just a kid, 24 years old. Like, they should beat this roster, really. Man on man, they should beat this roster, but they probably won't. They got Rudolph Balzer's out. Nikolai Knizov's been out for a long time. Jonathan Dahlin and Aiden Hill. I'm surprised they didn't bring Weatherby back or something. Wonder. Yeah, Wild signed Devison to 3 years. 3 years, I guess. That's what I heard. It was 3. Oh, yeah, for sure. I would have signed him longer if they could have. But yeah, 3-year contract is freaking awesome. It's not like they weren't going to sign him. I mean, coaches like that don't come around very often. So on paper, Philly probably could have this game, but I just have no faith in Philly. So what game do you want to do next? It's really just you and me in here anyways. So I think Kajin might be here. Everybody must be on holidays. They must take like a week off. Ever since we come back at Christmas time, it's been pretty sparse in here. Calgary, no. Calgary will win that, I think. I got Calgary winning that. Sajin started, so we'll go Calgary. Again, it's going to be the case. How rusty are they going to be? Seattle played a back-to-back, so the rust is a little bit off, but they also played a back-to-back. And they went in overtime last night. That was the other thing. In Philadelphia, they played overtime in Seattle. Then they got to fly to San Jose after the game, plus all the COVID stuff. My inkling is that Calgary will have their legs going early. The thing about it's just whether their passing is going to be on and all that stuff. Calgary hasn't played for a while. You think Calgary will get their ass, Kraken will get their ass whooped? Yeah, I know. The Calgary hasn't played in over a month. That's the bad thing. That's the tough part. It's Sutter, yeah, I know. But it's still a month. I don't care. That's the first period's going to be the real sign of how they do. Historically, teams that haven't played in a month generally don't play all that well. But it's kind of hard to go against Calgary here. They got everybody back. Oh, Larson is in quarantine now. Okay, that makes it a little easier. I thought he was out of quarantine. I don't think NHL has that updated yet. The NHL Network. They still say that Larson's in quarantine, but I'm pretty sure I saw that he was out now. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Are they going to get outworked? The Kraken are going to work hard. And you got to remember, this is the first game. Oh, where are they? This is the first game of Giordano being back in Calgary. Giordano is going to be in the lineup. Yeah, Adam Larson's going to be in the lineup tonight. But this is the first game of Giordano back in Calgary. But I mean, you look at their overall lineup, and Calgary should be else. It's just I got Calgary. Let's put it that way. I got Calgary. It would have been so much better if they didn't have a month off. Like, that's the big question mark here with this game. You got a month off. Now you got to get the legs moving, stuff like that. You know, first period could be tough. First period's gonna say a lot, I think. Get in there and start hitting right away. Don't do too many passes early. I wouldn't be trying to pass too much early. The one thing good about it is Calgary's game probably lends itself not too bad for some rust. They can kind of chip and chase to start off with. Markstrom, maybe. I mean, again, like we've seen these goaltenders so far that haven't had much time to play or haven't played in a while look kind of shaky. So the only ones that didn't were Demko and Gibson. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. That's for sure. But it's hard. I can't go against Calgary in that game. I just can't. I can't get myself to do it. So I got Calgary. And now you said the Islanders. The Islanders and the heck? The Islanders and the Sabres. Sabres on a back-to-back. But the Islanders have nobody in their lineup. That's the problem. I mean, Buffalo's pretty shook up too. Yeah, I got Sabres puck line because I don't know what the Islanders are going to bring, to tell you the honest truth. They have been, more than likely, they're going to be bad like they have been all year. They had the time off, but I mean, they can't blame long road trips on it anymore or anything like that. But they got, like, look at their lineup. Who's out? Brock Nelson is out. Wallstrom is out. Parise and Anthony Beauvillier. So their lineup is Anders Lee Barzal and Josh Bailey, who's had a horrible year. Kiefer Bellows, who's getting better, but I don't know, Gabriel Pajot and Austin Chernak, who's played well since he's come in. Not bad. And then the fourth line is the third line. Martin Cizikas and Clutterbuck is going to play a lot tonight. So I think my play here is the under, but the problem is Buffalo has Subban in, who did play really well last game, but his whole career has been completely inconsistent. So Del Cole, Ross Johnston, and Cole Bardreau will be in the lineup. I have a feeling I'll go with the Islanders. I think they'll shorten their bench. Their defense is all there, except for, a big one, Ryan Pulock. But Buffalo on the back-to-back, and their lineup doesn't look too strong either. So I would probably... The Islanders are tanking on purpose. Maybe I wouldn't really call it tanking, but I think probably Lamoriello knew that with the short break and that long road trip that this was a very good chance they weren't going to make the playoffs this year. So that would be a good idea. That's pretty much what they got now. Even if they do come back now, they're going to be so tired by the time playoffs happen. So it would be a smart thing to do. That God knows they need youth in that lineup. My gosh, that lineup has. But the problem is, didn't they give up their first already? I'm pretty positive they did. No, they had their first. Okay. And that kid that they picked up in the second round. That was supposed to be, he is playing really well now all of a sudden. And he had a really bad year. Atu Ratu's playing lights out. He's got 20 points in 11 games for the under 20s. And 14 points in 13 games in the Liga. So, and he was supposed to be a top 5 pick. Now he's playing like a top 5 pick. And yeah, they got the Avs second for the second round for Jonathan Toews, which was really, that hurt them a lot, having to trade Toews away. That defense hasn't been the same. But Atu Ratu hits, and it looks like he did. That helps a lot. And then whoever they're going to get in the draft this year, especially if they really tank hard and get a top 10 pick or something. Then they can start adding into this lineup because Bailey is starting to fade. Palmieri has probably done. He's probably pretty close to done. He's just not there anymore. So they need new blood in this lineup for sure. And they definitely don't need Parise and Chara. They got to get some new, younger blood in this lineup that can hold up to an 82-game season for sure. And if you talk to Islanders fans, they're like, that's all they talk about. We're too old, we're too old, we're too old, we're too old, we're too old. That being said, I'm probably going to lean the Islanders tonight. It's hard for me to put faith in Subban having 2 good games in a row. Like, he had a really good game last time, but it's possible. It's possible because look at, like, Luukkonen is doing absolutely fantastic. It sounds like they got kind of a goalie whisperer there in Buffalo. They changed their whole goaltending coaching staff and all that stuff like that. So it's possible they found the combination with Subban, and he has a great night tonight. Yeah. I'm more towards the under on that. I think with Buff, I don't. The Islanders really, they got a lot of people out of their lineup. I think I'd be leaning more to, hey, CL, well, where have you been? Where is everybody, CL? What did you do with them all? Did you take them out partying all Christmas and they're all pooched out? Ever since Christmas, nobody's been in here. I historically speaking, Subban has not been consistent when having a good game. So, if you, based on what I know of what Subban is, what we know what Subban is, the likelihood of him being able to do what he did last time probably isn't good. But there is that possibility that they found the combination finally for Subban, because how many chances has he got? Like, every single team has saw something in Subban as far as his skill level is concerned. His size, his he has great reflexes. He's got all the tools. So did he finally put it all together? I'm pretty sure before I can say that, I probably got to see him do it a little more than he has. Yeah, I think a lot of people are on holidays. I'm just bugging you, Seal. I think everybody's doing the holiday thing right now. Middlestat, I don't know. That guy can't stay healthy to save his life. He's hurt constantly. Plays 2 games hurt. Cousins, isn't Cousins on COVID? I think Cousins is on COVID protocol. I'm looking it up right now. Maybe not. No, he's not. Dylan Cousins, yeah, COVID protocol. And apparently he's sick too. He's got COVID and he's sick too. Well, we were just talking about that. Over? I was just saying I see that as an under, so I don't know. Subban's bad. Buffalo, Sorokin is good. I wouldn't doubt that. Subban is bad. The Islanders don't have anything in their lineup to score with. Subban played really good last game, like crazy good last game, but we've never seen him do that twice in a row. They might have found the combination for Subban, but what is Buffalo going to score with? I don't know. Could be over, I guess. It's a fadey game. I think I like Buffalo PL on them. You found the sports almanac last night? Where were we? What game were we on? What do you want to talk about next? Might as well keep on going. We already talked about Hurricanes and Canadians, Panthers, Lightning. What do you want to do next? Oh, nice. Yeah, I had a good night last night too. Very good night. What game do you want to do next, everybody? We got Did we talk to Predators and Jackets? I think we kind of did. I have no faith in the Jackets right now. They're going to be rusty. Predators don't seem to be bothered by back-to-backs at all, so I'll probably go with the Predators. David Rittich has not played great either. Now, yeah, second in franchise points. I think we talked about all the games now. Vancouver, LA with Drouin back. I think it's going to be a tough. Every game is a tough game for the Canucks right now. But the way they're playing is hard to go against them. CL's on the DL. CL's on the DL? On the DL. Yeah, Mr. Ronald Montembeault. He's in the pipes tonight. I hope he does well, man, because we're all rooting for Montembeault. For sure. Absolutely. I hope he just stays in the league, stays in the league. Also, he seems like a really cool guy, so I hope he does that anyways. But yeah. Did you, Mr. Rano, did you see my Montembeault video that I did? Go check it out. Good afternoon, Ron. Ron's one of the finest in the land there. Oh, everybody's coming out of the woodwork today to say hi after I already did all my picks for the day. Is there any more news for today? Coyotes Stars game is postponed. Dallas Stars have too many people out. So the Coyote Stars game is postponed. Is that tomorrow night? That's tomorrow night, right? It was supposed to be tomorrow night. Oilers Devils tomorrow. If the Oilers can't win that game, I mean, I don't know. I got something on that game for sure. Ducks, Golden Knights, Rangers, Lightning, Capitals, Red Wings, Penguins, Senators. Penguins first game and the Senators first. Oh no, postponed. Those are all postponed. When is that Coyotes game supposed to be on? The first? Are they going all the way over to there? Oh my gosh, all the way up to the second, they're postponing the game. So I think we're going to get some more postponed games yet, the way things are going. But the funny thing is this is the first day where they haven't been adding. This is the first day where they haven't been adding people over and over and over and over and over again. Mountain Blow is the GOAT. Yeah, Montembeault is the GOAT. For sure, no doubt about it. Yeah, well, I'm not either because I don't want him to do well tonight because over the stage of his career, when I'm not wanting the other team to win, then he can do well. Which probably isn't going to happen too often this year, I guess. So I guess I'm not going to really want him to do well because most of the time I'm probably going to be going against Montreal in pretty much all the games. The fact that they even came close to Tampa Bay, like only Tampa Bay would do that. That was absolutely ridiculous what Tampa Bay did that game. Like, they had no excuse. Montreal was also their first game in a long time, too. The only thing, I guess, those guys were playing the AHL, so they might have had better legs in them to start off with, which really gets me worried about Calgary tonight. I'm starting to get a little little concerned about Calgary the more I think about it. They haven't played in a month. Seattle played last night. I forgot to have this on. Florida blows them out. Could be. With that, if they're playing like Legacy or whatever his name is, for sure, I would say that that's going to be the case. Are fiending for another win. Yeah. I don't know. They don't have much on the roster. That the only thing is if Calgary doesn't get their legs going. That's the only thing. The only thing is if Calgary doesn't get their legs going early, it could be trouble. No doubt about it. But a Sutter-based team, you got to figure were they able to skate over the holidays? Were they even allowed to do that? Because Philadelphia looked terrible last night. And Seattle didn't look that bad. If Calgary's legs are going like Seattle's was going last night, Seattle went a long time without playing too. I heard that once you get like over 2 weeks, then a month doesn't really matter. It's just 2 weeks without skating. Seattle's legs were going pretty well. Yeah, that's what I think too. I think they could get down early and then come back for sure. Who Patch? Are you saying Pacioretty is out for Vegas? You're saying Pacioretty is out? Patches. Patches to me is Pacioretty. Where did you hear this? Oh my gosh. Yep, Pacioretty's out. Following wrist surgery. And just so happens they need the cap room. Just so happens they need the cap room. You're telling me that these are all just coincidences. Yeah, he went and got wrist surgery. I wonder if he would have got that wrist surgery if they didn't have Eichel. I said this already about Kucherov. And then I rebuffed and said I was wrong, and I still don't know if I'm wrong about that because it wouldn't put it past me that the teams would do this sort of thing, right? That's the thing. They're probably circumventing the cap. It's just so coincidental. Even this year with Kucherov, right? Yeah, smells very fishy. Very fishy, for sure. Eichel's probably going to be ready in the next week or two. Pacioretty gets his wrist surgery. Yeah, I mean, I said I was wrong about the Kucherov thing. And then And then now I'm rethinking it again. Like, aren't they just doing it again? I don't know. I don't know. I just wouldn't put it past them, anybody. It just seems so coincidental that all of a sudden you got teams that aren't strapped for cap space that and are not choking, tanking. You never see their players go for mid-season wrist surgery or, stuff like that. But as soon as a team is either tanking or going to be strapped for cap, like Tampa or whatever, all of a sudden they're going to take half the season off to take a freaking to have a surgery. Marner's expected back in 2 to 3 weeks. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. So thanks, Elliot, for being there for me because I didn't know that. That's crazy, Patrick. Just yeah. I don't know. And this is my, I like Vegas, so yeah, he'll be back just in time for the playoffs. You can be rest assured of that. And they'll find a doctor that can say, "Oh yeah, I needed the surgery. Had to have the surgery. Got to have it. Got to have it. Got to have the surgery." And then how do they argue with the doctor? Because it's the doctor, and that's the way it is. Got to have the surgery. Got to have the surgery. I don't know anything about what you're talking about there, Elliot. Will Ryan Ellis ever play? That is a very good question, my friend. Oh, is that right? If you could build my site, Elliot, I could probably do something with you on the MMA. I got to deal with other guys for that. But that's my full 42. And everybody came in at the end there, but that's great. I'm glad you all came in. Doing this from 1:30, 3:30, I can't go long because I got to go pick up the little lady. Yeah. Lundqvist is coming back? No way. Where did you get this, though? Stahl, yeah. Well, I mean, he would have been out for a really long time. Apparently, he still wants to play. Sebastian Oho, oh my gosh. The Islanders don't have anybody on their lineup tonight. Wow. Anyways, wow, that'd be something if he could come back. I got to go, guys. I'll talk to you later. That's my full 42. Be back here tomorrow. Everybody in the land, back here tomorrow. We're going to talk hockey, talk teams, talk trades, talk all of that stuff like that. Have a great day, everybody. Okay. Bye.